dear Thai, dear Sangya, dear friends, brothers and sisters. We are on the 7th of August, 2021, on the third day of our online retreat with the theme connection. So I look a little bit on the internet what scientific studies talk about this theme, connections, especially social connections. And so I find some articles that I would like to share to you today. So the first one will be on social connection, and second one on loneliness. The things are connected, right? So the first article I read, I would like to share to you is about a Harvard study of adult development, which is the longest study on happiness, starting on 1940 around. And the title is What Makes a Good Life of this article. So in this, well, when we ask the millennials now, the young people, maybe they would say what makes a good life? That money, the rich like Jeff Bezos, fame, and but this Harvard study will show us some results that to meditate. So the main study is called the grant study that included 268 Harvard educated men from undergraduate from 1942 to 1944. So there is a young people, high educated, and among them we can find John Kennedy, the former president of the States, and some senators. And there's a second cohort, that means a group of study also in this study. That's called the GLUEC study. That includes 456 disadvantaged but non-delinquent inner city youth who grew up in Boston area between 1940 1945. So in total, they follow up for more than 75 years. 724 men. And in 2015, 60 are still alive. Among them, 19 from the Harvard men. And they are all in their 80s and 90s. So the goal of the study is mainly to identify predictors of healthy aging. And so we will, there's two main principal director of this study. This is Georges Vaillant, and he's a principal investigator for more than 3 decades, since 1967. And the last one until now is Robert Wandiger. Wandiger is the last director. So what I share is mostly from Wandiger from his TED Talk and the Harvard News Gazette. So the reasons show some evidence that we can learn about relationship. First is social connections, good forces whereas loneliness could kill. So people who have strong social connection, they are more socially connected with family, friends, community. The study find that, of course, they are happier. They have higher self-esteem, low level of anxiety and depression, and greater empathy for others. They are physically healthier. Their immune system strengthened, and they can recover from disease faster. And they are more trusting and cooperative. And by consequence, others are more open to trusting and cooperating with them. So that generates a positive feedback loop of social, emotional, and physical well-being. So that's we know in our mindfulness practice that we are creating our environment. And in this group of good people, when connected socially, they live longer also. So from the grand study, we can find that of the men who were better at forming relationships, 2/3 of them still alive. So now we will see the group of people who are more isolated than they want to be from others, meaning there's a lack of social connection. They are less happy, for sure, because loneliness hurts, like being ostracized. The neuroscience can show that that when you are ostracized, ostracism, that activates our neural pain matrix. So we suppose that loneliness is like the same, that can activate our neuron pain also. So that's why we call that the pain of loneliness. And in this group of people, we could find increased suicidal behavior. And people feel more isolation, of course, and they feel also alienation. So that trigger higher likelihood for antisocial behaviors that can lead to further isolation. So that's this is on the other side. This is a negative feedback, and the same like the positive feedback. Like we are responsible for creating our own environment. So in this group of people with lack of social connection, we can notice a decline in physical health earlier in midlife. And loneliness here is a disease risk factor greater than obesity, smoking, and high blood pressure. And they live shorter life. From the grand study, of the 31 men incapable of establishing intimate bonds, only 4 are still alive in 2012. So loneliness could be, is clearly a risk factor of mortality. So what matters does not depend on the number of friends we have, especially not, for sure, not on number of friends in the social media, on Facebook, for example, because we could feel loneliness in the crowd. Or that does not depend on a committed relationship. It's not like because we are married that we could be happy. Because living in the midst of conflict is toxic. So that's why high conflict marriage may be worse than divorce, the author said. So what matters depends mainly on the quality of our close relationship. So living in the midst of a good and warm relationship is protective for our health, especially. And the good relationship don't just protect our bodies, but also our brain. So being in a securely attached relationship to another person in your 80s, when you're 80 years, around 80 years old, is protective for our brain, our neurons. So people who are in relationship where they really feel that they can count on the other person in time of need, time of difficulty, they have their memory stay sharper and longer. In the opposite, if people cannot count on the other person, so they have earlier memory decline. But and a good relationship does not have to be smooth all the time. People can bicker time to times, but as long as they felt they could really count on the other when it's going more tough. And this kind of bicker time to time does not affect memory. So this those two I can, when I read that, I could reflect on what happened to my parents. We can share to you here. So my mom on her, when she was like 60 something, close to 70s, she got a breast cancer, and then later on a stroke, brain stroke, but small. And my parents, when they get older, starting 60s, 70s, don't get along well. And so my dad is 12 years older than my mom. And when my mom was sick, and then she recovered from the breast cancer, and then from the stroke, this is quite a very small stroke, and don't have much stigma from that. And things got worse in my parents' relationship. And my mom, at that time, she blamed my dad that he didn't take care well when my mom was sick. And that is only her point of view. And she want to, now she said that, okay, I have been taking care of the family, of the children, of everybody since for more than 40 years. And now I want to take care of myself. It's time for me to take care of myself. And so when my dad and my mom traveled to Vietnam by that time, and my mom, she's a Catholic, she's very devoted. And when they were in Vietnam by that time, because we live in France, and she said to my dad, now I want to go to live with the nuns, the Catholic nuns in Vietnam. And so you take care of yourself. I don't want to, she said that she needs to take care of herself. So she wants to go to the nuns monastery. And my dad, she said, you can do whatever you want to, but it's enough for me. And so my dad, by this time, he was 80, and my mom like 68, like 70. And my dad was very sad. And so instead of staying in Vietnam, by that time, he go back to France. And we were quite, as children, we were quite surprised because it was before the Vietnamese New Year. So every people enjoy the Vietnamese New Year in Vietnam. And I asked my dad, what's wrong? Why do you go back to France? It's cold. It's in February, huh? Whereas in Vietnam, it's warm and you can enjoy with people and with the family in Vietnam. And so my dad by that time didn't say that his friend kind of rejected by my mom. And then a few weeks later, he died. Of course, he died of, there's maybe certainly a heart rhythm problem. I look back, but definitely he could not count on my mom in this relationship anymore. So that for me is good. When I read this, I he doesn't feel the happiness of life anymore. He said that, and he used to tell us that, okay, I'm 80s, I'm going to 80s. It's time to finish with life. So, and my mom, even if this, because of this stroke, this is quite minimal. But now her memory, her short-term memory declined dramatically. So for me also, those last 10 years that she spent alone, even if she goes to church and she, but maybe her relationship with Jesus is not enough warm and bonding as a human relationship, you know. So that's it. So this is kind of my when I look back to the experience of my parents, maybe that could fit to this the finding of this study. So there's another another finding about personal development from Georges Vaillant, which is the former director during 3 decades of this study. And he found out that personal development never stop, no matter how old you are. So that's a good news. And he put that in terms of you can teach an old dog new tricks. That means that the man that they are follow up during more than 75 years. They kept changing all the way through, even in their 80s and 90s. So that's a maturing, they call that a maturing process of coping with emotional events. And here we can see the importance of the EQ, emotional quotient. That is more important in our happiness than the IQ, intelligence quotient. It's not because you are graduate from Harvard that you could live a good life. So it's depend on the social aptitude. And George Vaillant also, he's a psychiatrist, a professor at Harvard. He said that what goes right is more important than what goes wrong. Meaning that the positive effect of one loving relative, mentor, or friend can overwhelm the negative effect of the bad things that happen. So we can see here the teaching on flower watering the good seeds. Even if you have a non-happy, dramatic childhood, but that doesn't mean that you will fail later on. Things could evolve, and whenever we could fortunately have a relationship that the loving relationship that could help us, support us, and with the what we call selective watering, if our good seeds, the environment is favorable for our good seeds to be watered, and then we can change the direction of our life. So, so that's also a teaching of not to be a victim. We can hone our destiny with the practice. So the conclusion of Dr. Vaillant, Professor Vaillant, also when they because they follow up those men when they were young, and they look back also their childhood. So the warmth of relationships throughout life, like, and especially the childhood relationship with the mother, with mom, matters long into adulthood. So this warmth of relationship throughout life has the greatest impact on life satisfaction. So a healthy and so the good life is built with good relationship, and healthy and strong relationships are at the core of happiness. So there's a premise for that. That means that we can intentionally seek to connect and engage with the people in our life from an honest, compassionate, and empathic place. But we need not to forget that the first and foremost relationship we must have it with ourselves first. And so the author, like Robert Wandinger, he what can we do from the conclusion of this study about social connection, relationship? And he has a proposal of Robert Wandinger. He said that there's endless possibilities, but we can replace screen time with people time, livening up a style relationship by doing something new together as a couple, for example. Maybe to go to a mindfulness retreat together, for example. Wandinger, W-R-L-D-I-N-J-E-R. And also maybe to reaching out to that family member who you haven't spoken to for years because of faults or grudges. So this is some of those proposals for building good relationship. And actually it's a relationship based on when we said that we see that based on a kind of unconditional love. This is one of the element of true love. Like whatever happened, you can rely on me, you can count on me. So this is the most important when we, with our partner, to build this kind of relationship. And so to end, I will, so Georges Vaillant, which is the main director of the grant study from 1966, he has written several books about this study. And even with controversies, but he finished onwards to with the what I would call a mantra is happiness is love, and all you need is love. So we can listen to this mantra and sing together with the all you need is love from the Beatles right now as a break. Thank you. So we cannot talk about social connections without talking about loneliness. And the second article I would like to share with you is called The Pain of Loneliness and Ways to Ease It, from Emma Sepala. She's a PhD researcher from Stanford University on the Department of Altruism and compassionate research. So especially with the COVID pandemic, we see that the loneliness is growing, but it's already loneliness is already on the rise in the West, especially even before the pandemic. So some statistic in the US in 2004, every 4 Americans saying that they have no one to confide in. If they have a problem, a personal issue, something like that. And in the US, loneliness is one of the leading reasons people seek psychological counseling. In England, the number of adults feeling lonely rise up to 44% from 2017 to 2020, from a number of 2,600,000, 2.6 million to 3.7 million. And in France, the increase in relationship isolation since 10 years, from 9% in 2020 to 14% 2020. And that concerns 7 million people, of the adults in France. So ways to ease loneliness, to get out of that. Our teacher has a famous calligraphy, and we can find here in the writing in this article from Emma Sepala, is the way out is in. Because social connection has more to do with our subjective feeling of connection than our number of friends. We know on the expression loneliness in a crowd. So the psychological well-being and physical health benefits of social connection, but not from the number of friends we have, but more from our internal and subjective sense of connections towards others. So again, this is the practice of no victimization, because whatever starts from within, it is within our hands. We can make it. So how to cultivate inner and outer connection, and outer connection. The connection from within is understanding ourselves is more important. So when we saw that loneliness is a pain, could activate the neural matrix of pain. When pain of loneliness takes hold, what could we do? So the researcher advice is quite common in our mindfulness practice of Plum Village. He said that first thing is connect with yourself 100% and stop distracting from music, movies, phone, or internet. And be friend with ourselves. And here we have a quote from Maxwell Maltz. If you make friends with yourself, you will never be alone. So what does that mean, that be friend with ourselves? It means that we need to be friend with what happened in our mind and in our body. Be friend with mind and body, the integrity, the whole as a whole. So for the what happened when whether it is loneliness or anger or sadness, pain, we first can create a calm environment, maybe go to silence. And that's why our teacher used to recommend that each family, each house, each home should have a breathing room where you can go, each member of the family can go there whenever we have suffering, whenever we have some burning, we have some discomfort and a strong emotion. We can go there, and in this room where we can set up the silence, and we can start to practice mindful breathing. And then we can give the emotion, whether it is loneliness, anger, full expression. Like we don't try to suppress or distract ourselves from this feeling. We just come back, breathing in. I know that I feel this pain of loneliness, of to be lonely. I feel this breathing in. I notice that anger is coming and make my body hot. I feel my face, the heat is coming to my face. That become hot and red, for example. So with this practice, we call that mere recognition. Like and with the help of the breathing, so we can be really with the discomfort. We can be with the sensation, the emotions, and the thoughts that arises without trying to intervene, without trying to suppress or to distract from outside. So this is all that is mindful meditation. But in the Plum Village practice, our meditation is based on mindful breathing, being aware of our breathing, and also of our steps when we are practicing walking meditation. But it just could be in any act of our life, whenever we are washing up, cutting vegetables, cooking, we can come back to our breathing and come back to what we are doing. And we are lucky that we have this practice of mindful breathing. When we know that the research find out that emotions emotion change the breath, the way we breathe, we are breathing. But in the contrary, on the other way, also, the way of breathing can change the emotion. If we practice coming back to our breathing and stick to our breathing from the very beginning to the end, don't get out of this awareness of the breathing. Then after a while, like maybe 10 mindful breathing like that, our breath can be calmer. If we can lengthen our, especially we can, if we are very emotional, we can lengthen the out breath. And because the breathing, especially the out breath, when it could be longer, the in breath deeper, and the out breath slower and longer, that activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest system. So that help to calm down, you see. And so go into silence, give the emotion full expression, and practice mindful breathing. This is on our practice of mindfulness meditation. And we can and this is the practice with what happened in our mind, in our emotion, and we can come back to our body and taking care of the body. So being alone is the only time that we can rest body and mind. And this I can share my experience during this time of COVID in Vietnam. I have the opportunity to be alone in a very nice environment with a lot of greens of nature, and like quite for 3 months already. I'm in a kind of solo retreat. That's happened for me for the first time since a long time, more than 20 years. I think I am like that, nothing to do, nowhere to go. And I really can go back to take care of the pain, like more muscular pain, muscle pain from my neck and my shoulders, due to certainly nature, anxious nature transmitted from my father, and also from some responsibility in the new monastery that we opened in Paris since 2018, since 3 years ago. And by that time, because we don't have much finance, that gave me a lot of stress as one of the responsible brothers for this project. And since then, I have not. I have never the opportunity really to stop like that and take care of myself. I did go to chiropractors, acupuncture, and physiotherapists, but I discovered since those last month that when I wake up in the morning, of course I smile and I recite the gatha to wake up as the practice. Our practice, like waking up in the morning, I know that I have 24 hours to live, beautiful hours to live. So I smile to myself and I vow to live them fully. And then I take time to massage, to practice deep massage in my shoulders where it is painful. And finally, I discover areas, tiny muscles that is painful. And I with my fingers, I can go deep and press on them, massage gently. Okay? And those tiny muscles, from the shoulders, I have never known their existence. That's funny, but in our body is so wondrous. But there's a lot of things we don't know at all. And even if I have a medical background, I know some organs, some the liver, the heart, but those tiny muscles of the shoulders, of the neck, I have never the opportunity. I never had the opportunity to touch them and to feel them. And so I take really time to gently massage, and I that's the first time also I talk to myself, to my body. I say, oh, my dear body, excuse me, I completely forget you for years, maybe since my childhood. I never really take time to stop and take care of you, and I really beg pardon from my body, and I tell my body, okay, I vow in the future, since now to the future, I won't let you down. I won't let you alone. I will be more aware of what's happening, especially when you are painful. So this is the practice of taking care of body. And so the study, the researcher, if you take care of the body, then you feel better. And so in my case, it's the massage, but combined with a good diet, it's exercise. Then the body, if the body feels better, then the mind can feel better also. This is the two faces of one entity, body and mind. So when the mind goes down, we try to support it with the body and trying to bring the body back up. And so if we take care of body, we could feel better, the positive state of mind. And then the whole outlook on life could change. So that's the mind and body interrelationship. So another practice when feel lonely is recommended by the researcher by Emma Sepala is a service or dana. So an act of service when we are volunteering for helping people, especially in this time of COVID. There's a lot of things that we can offer. That doesn't need to be much. A smile is also an offering, dana. Service dana is very close. And the act of service, the act of dana is an act of connection. Whether you are in France or you are in the US, if you make a donation for a caritative work, whether in Vietnam or in India, then you are connecting with Vietnam and India. See? And so Mother Teresa, I can quote Mother Teresa, help one person at a time and always start with the person nearest you. And because dana service can make us happy, because the neuroscience shows that when we are making a donation, a dana, that activates the brain area reward zone. So that's why we reward zone. That's why that give a good feeling of well-being. And Mahatma Gandhi also, he said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. You see? So maybe we can have one sound the bell to come back to connect with body and mind. Connect first with our breathing. And feel the in-breath with the abdomen uprising, out-breath, the abdomen falling. Connect with our body and connect with what is happening inside of us. This is a new habit that we can cultivate. So to be friend with ourselves is a kind of a practice of self-acceptance, and don't be harsh with ourselves. So another way to cope with loneliness is to connect with nature. And actually with nature is connect with Mother Earth. So this kind of connection, when we are sitting here in nature and watch and enjoy a sunset, for example, or sunrise. There's beautiful sceneries. They slow one perception of time and can bring us into the present moment. And we can have everything in the present moment. And this practice of connecting to Mother Earth, to nature, Mother Nature or Mother Earth, is have the practice of cultivating gratitude. Our teacher has a very famous calligraphy that we hang on our dining room, dining hall in our monastery. Is the breath in your hands is the body of the cosmos. And how to connect with Mother Earth, how to connect with nature, how to cultivate gratitude. It's very easy when you, in the practice of mindful meal, mindful eating. And we have the practice of the 5 contemplations before the meals. And those practice of 5 contemplations, we can see where the food come from different actors, whether human actors or the earth, the sky, the trees, the vegetables, you see. And it needs just a moment of stopping with the in-breath and out-breath. Breathing in, I know where this piece of carrots come from. And I practice looking deeply where the rice come from. I can see the rice field, the peasant, and that's help. It's a very easy way, easy practice to cultivate gratitude, and also to have to practice the deep looking on the teaching of interbeing. And since we interbeing, when we can experience this insight of interbeing, then we will be interconnected, you see. And in Japan, there's a famous practice of Shinrin-yoku. Shinrin-yoku. This is forest bath. You go to the forest, walking silent, and let the trees impress us, and on the benefits of the trees' energy and the trees' hormones will help release stress and depression. So this is the insight of the Japanese people. And the last practice to help coping easing the loneliness is the practice of loving kindness meditation. So this practice of loving kindness meditation increase our sense of love and kindness towards ourselves and others. And in Plum Village also, we have the practice of touching the earth. We don't say prosternation, but we say touching the earth. And those practice of touching the earth, whether it is the tree touching the earth or the 5 touching of the earth, help us to connect with our ancestors, blood ancestors and spiritual ancestors, and also the land ancestors. And for those who don't know those practice, then you can inquire about. And those practice of touching of the earth are the antidote of alienation. if we can go back to our roots, our ancestors, and rooted in the land ancestors, then we can free ourselves from the feeling of alienation. And an easy plum village, then the most that's the medicine that our teacher has found out to oppose, to heal, to deal with loneliness on the rise in the West is the practice of Sangha. Sangha is a community of practice, whether it is a monastic community or a lay community. We can join a Sangha. So a Sangha where we, if each member of a Sangha, whether it is a lay Sangha or monastic Sangha, we can build up true brotherhood and sisterhood. Then the Sangha practice or Sangha building will be the most effective medicine for the pain of loneliness, the painkiller of loneliness. The Sangha, if we don't have good relationship in our family, our blood family, our biological family, if we cannot connect because of several reasons, because of a lot of wounds or things like that. The Sangha, a spiritual family, is a second chance for us to cultivate this sense of connection. Building Sangha, practice with the Sangha, with the community, is one of the main teaching of Plum Village, of our teacher. So we have Sangha online in this time, but whenever you can, also in-person Sangha is very precious also. And we can find true brothers and true sisters in practice Sangha. So we will end by experiencing the practice of loving kindness meditation. And I have borrowed a guided meditation from a member of our Sangha in the world, from the US. So please, let's enjoy this meditation, and then I will say the last words after that.
Oui, très bien, merci beaucoup.
Maybe one sound the bell while waiting for Đại Nguyện. Come back to our breathing. Enjoy the present moment.
I'm really pleased to share this practice of metta meditation. Metta is a Pali word for loving kindness. And it's a practice that I have used in my own life over many years. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But metta is a way of caring for ourselves, extending love to ourselves, and to other people and things. So maybe we could just jump right in and begin the practice of metta. So come into a comfortable position, a comfortable seated position where the spine is straight but not rigid, and you feel relaxed. If it's okay and comfortable, allowing your eyes to be closed. And maybe take a few breaths in and out of the nose, breathing in and breathing out. And in this meditation, we'll begin with several verses. Allow the verses to really wash over you, to be part of you. So that these verses aren't just sort of wishful thinking, but if they could really embed in your heart and in your mind, that would be so. So we begin with metta, with the verses that you hold and you say for yourself. And then you'll direct your attention to people that you love, you care for, and then directing the verses to those people that you love. And sometimes that's easy to do, to wish well, to want good things for people that you already care about. Next, I'll invite you to invite metta to people that you don't know, the so-called neutral person. And again, with all your heart, to wish these verses, this love and this kindness, this well-being to people that you do not know. And then finally, bringing right into your mind's eye, your heart, the person that you believe is the cause of your suffering. And if you feel it is appropriate for you to direct these verses to even that person, the person that you believe has caused you suffering. So beginning with yourself. May I be peaceful, happy, and light in body and spirit. May I be safe and free from injury, free from anger, affliction, fear, and anxiety. May I learn to look at myself with the eyes of understanding and love. May I be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in myself. May I learn to identify the sources of anger, craving, and delusion in myself. May I know how to nourish the seeds of joy in myself every day. May I live fresh, solid, and free. May I be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. And now taking a few deep breaths in and out of the nose, breathing in and breathing out. Directing your attention from yourself, this feeling of love and safety and care, to directing your attention to the person that you love so much. It could be an animal, a plant, a mineral. It could be your dearest friend or parent, a guardian. But bring that being into the room with you, the space. See that person, the person clearly, and directing metta, the verses, to the person you love. May you be peaceful, happy, and light in body and in spirit. May you be safe and free from injury. May you be free from anger, afflictions, fears, and anxiety. May you learn to look at yourself with the eyes of understanding and love. May you be able to recognize the seeds of joy and happiness in yourself, and identify the seeds of anger and craving and delusion that are there as well. May you know how to nourish the seeds every day. May you be able to live fresh, solid, and free. May you be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. And again, taking a few deep breaths, breathing in and breathing out. And now turning your awareness from the person you love to the neutral person. This could be someone you see on occasion. Maybe it's a stray animal, a cat that comes around your street. It could be someone that you pass on the street every day, but you don't know. And directing these verses to that person, to the person that you don't know, and with all your heart, to wish love and kindness to this person as well, to this being. May you be peaceful, happy, and light in body and in spirit. May you be safe and free from injury, free from anger, affliction, and fear, free from anxiety. May you learn to look at yourself with the eyes of understanding and love. May you be able to recognize the seeds of joy and happiness in yourself. May you learn how to identify the sources of anger and craving and delusion that are there within you as well. May you know how to nourish the seeds of joy and happiness every day. May you live fresh, solid, and free. May you be free from attachment and aversion, but not be indifferent. And again, breathing in and breathing out, directing your attention now from the neutral person, the person or thing or beings or group of people, the animals that you don't know, to the person that you believe is the cause of much suffering, the person that you have difficulty with. See that person clearly. All the very aspects of that person's life. It may be a group of people. To look deeply at their suffering, his or her suffering. And if it is appropriate for you to direct the verses, to direct metta, love and kindness, even to this person who has caused so much suffering. May you be peaceful. May you be happy, light, in body and in spirit. May you be safe and free from injury, free from anger, affliction, fear, and anxiety. May you look at yourself with the eyes of understanding and love, and be able to recognize and touch the seeds of joy and happiness in yourself every day. May you learn how to identify the sources of anger and craving and delusion that are there within you as well. May you know how to nourish the seeds of joy, the seeds of happiness in yourself every day. May you live fresh, solid, free. May you be free, free from attachment, free from aversion, but not indifferent to love. And again, breathing in and breathing out. And when you are ready, opening your eyes. Thank you.
Okay, so for Đại Nguyện, maybe one sounds about to continue this energy come back to our breathing. Let the meditation sink inside our heart. So, dear friends, our brothers and sisters from our monastic sangha from the Paris monastery asked me to share with you their happiness and joy to organize this online retreat. This is a way for them to reach out to you all over the world during this time that since more than 1.5 years that we don't have guests, in-person guests in our monasteries. And so they want to connect with you, and they wish also that you on the other way, in return, you connect with them also. And to, as we can see in the way to get out of loneliness is to connect by service and also by dana. Service is dana. So if you want to activate the brain area of reward zone and to feel good, to well-being, happy, please practice dana to our monasteries, and then you will keep strong connections with brothers and sisters. And it doesn't have to be much, but of course, brothers and sisters are very happy whatever you can offer to them. Thank you very much, and wishing everybody happy and peaceful energy to continue in this retreat. Thank you very much for your listening and compassionate listening. So we will end with 3 sounds of the bell again to enjoy the wonderful sound of the bell that bring us back to our home, to our breathing, calming, soothing, and relax and smile. Come back to our body, now mind.